And welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Folks, if you like live local programs like this one with umpteen former Vols on it, then thank the companies that make it possible, like this locally owned, family owned, proven for 45 years business right here in East Tennessee, Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Thank them for making today possible. I thank them for keeping my house critter free. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. We are back in this segment with LaMarcus Thompson, former Vol defender, Shazon Bradley, former Vol defender Chris Wampler down there, who's also the president of Tennessee's Letterman Club. Meant to mention that earlier. I got the defenders out here because Tennessee's going to open against an option team. All right. Now, you saw a lot more option offenses back in your day, Chris. Now it's kind of that zone reads. There's elements of option. But you faced an option team as well. Tennessee did in your true freshman year here.
True freshman year.
People remember that Air Force scare from 2006. Gentlemen, what makes the option offense so difficult?
Well, basically, it's a lot of keys to read. It's a lot of, smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of things that can go on. And, if you're looking at the wrong thing at the wrong time, you're talking about a touchdown. You're not talking about 5 or 10 yards. Probably the biggest thing that we have to do this year is basically make sure you're disciplined. That's going to be the biggest thing we play Georgia Tech this year, and of course, with Darren Kirkland going down there, that's a big loss as far as one of your leaders on that team there. So,
well, I mean, you lose your top linebacker in terms of going into a game against probably the toughest rushing attack you're going to face this year. So that is a huge challenge. Shazon, your thoughts on the option offense and defending it well?
Well, back home in Midland County, we call it keep it simple, stupid. And the reason being is because when you start playing an option and things start changing and you start cover 2, I got pitch man. Cover 3, I have quarterback. So the name of the game here is we have a bunch of young players. Just keep it simple to where they understand it. Try to give him the same guy every time. Because he says discipline. Discipline is tough when you're young.
Well, and when you get that's the other part. You take a key piece like a leader like Darren Kirkland out of the mix. You're also defending on the other 10 guys out there on the field with you. Chris Wampler, your thoughts on facing an option team and what makes it difficult?
Well, I think there's 2 times you need to play an option team. The optimal time would be at the end of the season when everything's sort of equalized a little bit. But the other optimal time would be the first game where you've had the summer to prepare for them. You have the opportunity to simplify your defense against their offense. And so we're at one of those 2 optimal times to possibly to win the game. But it is a formidable opponent, and it's not like playing, somebody easy in the beginning. I think it'll be a tough matchup for Tennessee.
Well, this team beat 3 SEC. Georgia Tech beat 3 SEC East teams last year. Georgia, Vandy, Kentucky. I mean, that is not a team to be sneezed at. And Paul Johnson has run that offense for a long time, and he's run it well down there.
Well, if we can, we have the athletes to match up. Obviously, can we play assignment football? And that's what it breaks down to. Can we play assignment football and make the plays when we have to make the plays?
How scared are you considering Tennessee's run defense last year? We talked about injuries did play some role, whether it was the whole role, part of the role, no role. It played some role. After you watched that defense get run all over last year, this would seem like the worst opponent you could possibly open with.
it is.
It is.
Yeah,
no
you
doubt.
hate
Point blank period.
Whoever chose this game, who said Roger to this game right here, needs to be taken out back and beaten severely.
Not a fan of opening up with this kind of. Well, the other problem you run into is you've had a history of of injuries on your defensive line. This is a team that cut blocks.
They cut block a lot, and the biggest problem with that is, of course, injuries, of course. Yeah. And another thing is, your keys is going to have to be very important. I don't think everybody understands that because you're talking about a team that runs this offense to a science. I mean, they've done it year in and year out, and they've done it well. Like you said, they ran over a Georgia team, and going back to that game that we were talking about earlier with Air Force, it came down to the last play. And you had probably 5 or 6 NFL guys on that team, that's a really good Gerard Mayos, Marvin Mitchell. So, and you're talking about a better Georgia Tech team with Division I athletes. So this is going to have to be a real test for Tennessee. This is going to be a real test.
Well, you could go back. Nick Saban has talked about the type of team that gives his group the most trouble at Alabama, option, because they don't see enough of it. A few years ago, you finished #1 in the nation. They gave up 350 yards rushing to Georgia Southern. because of this option thing. It's going to be a real challenge for Tennessee, especially if LaMarcus Thompson is out, which it does. I mean, not LaMarcus Thompson. Darren Kirkland is out.
We
I was about
guarantee.
to say thank you,
We
LaMarcus
guarantee
Thompson.
he's out.
But with him out, he's out. So I got ahead of myself. Thanks to LaMarcus Thompson. Thanks to Shazan Bradley. Thanks to Chris Wampler. Appreciate you guys being here. We will be back with 3 more VFLs as we continue to talk Vols football next.